Welcome back to Recap Central. Today I'm going to explain a horror film called Texas Chainsaw 3D. The movie is about a young woman that travels to Texas to collect an inheritance. Little does she know she will encounter a chainsaw killer. Let's begin. We see a police officer arriving at the Sawyer house. The Sawyer and Carson family are barricaded inside. The sheriff wants the boy called Leatherface, as a girl told him he killed all her friends. The Sawyers say it was in self-defense. The sheriff tells them to give up the boy and things won't get out of hand. They agree. Meanwhile, people from the town have come to kill the family. They burn down the house and shoot everyone inside, including a woman with a baby. When the fire dies down, a man finds the woman. He takes the baby and kills the woman with a kick. He tells his wife they should adopt the baby and they call her Heather. Adult Heather is at work. Her friend Nikki tells her she is really excited by their trip to New Orleans. Heather goes home where Ryan is hitting a punch bag. Ryan gives Heather a letter. Her grandma left her a house. She is confused as her grandparents died years ago. She confronts her parents and learns she is adopted. Her parents warn her not to go to Texas. She decides to go to Texas. Ryan, Nikki and Kenny go as well. They drive to Texas. At a gas station they hit a man named Daryl. He doesn't care they hit him, he also is going to Texas and rides with them. When they arrive at the house, a man gives her some keys and a letter her grandma left her. The house is beautiful and filled with antiques. They go buy some food. Daryl stays behind at the house. When they leave, he immediately starts robbing the house. He is a scam artist. He explores the house and finds a strange room. Food is left in front of a metal door. As he looks for something to open the door, Leatherface hits him with a hammer and bashes his skull. In town, Heather meets Carl Hartman, a police officer, and Bert Hartman, the mayor. He was there when they killed the Sawyers, and asks Heather if she is a Sawyer. She lies and quickly leaves. They find the wreck and they deduce Daryl was a thief and left after robbing them. At night, while Kenny is cooking, he finds the door Daryl went through. He walks down and finds the metal door is open. Suddenly Leatherface chases him. Kenny gets halfway up the stairs but gets a hook in the back and gets dragged down. No one can hear it because of the loud music. Nikki takes Ryan into a barn. She left there a bottle of tequila. When Ryan turns around, he sees Nikki in her underwear and they have sex. Exploring the house, Heather finds Grandma Verna decomposing in a chair. She screams and runs downstairs. In the kitchen she finds Leatherface cutting a hand. She tries to run but he grabs her and slams her against a table, knocking her out. She wakes up in the cellar. Leatherface is cutting Daryl's Bofi into pieces. He hangs Kenny on a hook and cuts him in half. Heather runs up the stairs. Leatherface chases her. She runs outside. In the cemetery she finds an open grave and hides inside. Leatherface hears her crying and jumps on top of the coffin and starts cutting into it. Ryan and Nikki come out of the barn. They hear the chainsaw and call out asking who's there. When Leatherface sees them, he runs after them. They run into the barn and barricade the door. Ryan finds a shovel and Nikki a shotgun. She screams "Welcome to Texas, motherfucker," and shoots Leatherface through the door. It gets quiet outside. A pair of lights appear outside and a van smashes through the door. It's Heather. They drive away. Ryan tries to ram the door but it's too thick. Leatherface is catching up to them. They back up and the door opens automatically. Leatherface cuts their tires and the van flips. Ryan is dead. Heather and Nikki scream as Leatherface tries to get them. Heather manages to climb out while Leatherface cuts Nikki's stomach. Heather distracts him. He chases her through the woods. They arrive at a carnival. Leatherface keeps chasing her while people scream. Heather grabs onto a Ferris wheel. Leatherface waits for her to come down on the other side. Carl tells him to freeze. Leatherface throws his chainsaw at him but he ducked just in time. Carl takes Heather to the police station. Heather describes Leatherface and an officer thinks Jed must still be alive. Carl goes to find the killer. The mayor speaks with the other officer named Hooper. Heather looks through a box of evidence Carl left and learns how her family died. An officer is investigating the flipped van. No one is inside, but a trail of blood leads down the road, so he follows it. It leads all the way back to the house. He FaceTimes the mayor so he can see what he sees. He finds Daryl Kenny and Ryan butchered. When he comes upstairs, Leatherface bludgeons him with an axe. The mayor goes to confront Heather as he suspects she is behind this. But when he enters the room, Heather is gone and "murderers" is written on the pages on the table. Heather calls Farnsworth, the man that gave her the hose keys. He tells her to meet him at a bar. He tells her he said to read the letter immediately and she would have learned all she need to know. He tells her Jed knows she is alive but doesn't know who she is. The mayor arrives. Heather grabs a knife before leaving. As she crosses the street, Ollie, the mayor's partner, runs her over. He tries to grab her but she slices his face. And she runs away and finds Carl. She asks him to get her to the bar. And warns him the mayor is after her. They drive to the bar and see Farnsworth, but Carl doesn't stop. Heather discovered Carl is the mayor's son. The mayor tells Carl to take her to the old slaughterhouse. But Leatherface is listening to the radio. He grabs his chainsaw and goes out. Carl ties Heather up and leaves. Leatherface comes behind her. He revs his chainsaw, but as he gets closer he sees the scar on her chest. He removes the tape around her mouth and she tells him she is his cousin. He cuts her free as the mayor and Ollie arrive and start beating Leatherface. Heather escapes. The mayor wraps a chain around Leatherface's neck and tells Ollie to turn it on. The chain pulls him into a meat grinder. As Ollie flips the switch, Heather stabs him in the guts with a pitchfork. She gives Leatherface his chainsaw. He frees himself and cuts the mayor's ankles. Hooper points his gun at them, but Heather tells him not to shoot. The mayor keeps crawling back towards the grinder and gets shredded to pieces. At the Sawyer house, Leatherface sits down. Heather tries to touch his face, but he gets up and goes into the cellar. Heather reads the letter her grandma left her. It says Leatherface is her last relative, and whether she leaves or she stays, she should not forget where her house is at. She goes down and grabs Leatherface's food plate. She decides to stay. In the credits, Heather's adoptive parents come looking for a share of the house. Leatherface comes out with his chainsaw.